You've been lied to. They told you that hard work is the key to success. That if you obey, show up early, and stay late, you'll be rewarded. But look around. The richest men are not the hardest workers. The most powerful don't obey. This is the dirty truth they'll never teach you in school or preach in church. Hard work alone is a trap, and blind obedience is your slow death. Today, we expose this deception and teach you how to rise without permission. From birth, society hands you a blueprint: work hard, follow the rules, and you'll rise. This formula, repeated in schools, households, and workplaces, is marketed as the golden path to success. But look closely. Who does this narrative really serve? It benefits the architects of the system, not the workers trapped within it. Hard work, when stripped of leverage, autonomy, or ownership, becomes nothing more than glorified servitude. You can put in endless hours, sacrifice your health, and obey every command, and still be discarded the moment you are no longer useful. Why? Because hard work alone is never enough. Without leverage, you're just another cog in someone else's machine. The myth of hard work is seductive. It gives the illusion of progress while keeping you under control. You feel accomplished, exhausted, noble. But you don't move forward. You don't rise in power, status, or influence. You simply wear yourself out while the true winners, those who own the systems you work in, reap the rewards. They preach hard work not because it's the path to greatness, but because it keeps you busy and blind. They want you chasing productivity like a hamster on a wheel, while they quietly build empires using your time and talent as fuel. When a man works hard without control over the outcome, he is no different than a beast of burden. The farmer may feed and praise his ox, but the ox will never inherit the farm. Your labor enriches others because they control the leverage. Leverage is what separates the powerful from the obedient. It's not about working more. It's about working smart, with tools that multiply your effort. A man with leverage can produce in an hour what others cannot achieve in a year. He owns the ladder others climb. He writes the rules that others follow. The system rewards effort selectively. You are given promotions, pats on the back, and modest raises, not because of your talent, but because of your obedience. Truly ambitious, those who desire freedom and dominance, must escape this trap. They must see hard work for what it truly is, a weapon, not a lifestyle. Used strategically, effort can bring results. But used blindly, it chains you to mediocrity. Consider the quiet irony. Those who rise to the top often work less than those at the bottom. Not because they are lazy, but because they understand leverage. They hire others, delegate, automate, and manipulate systems to do their bidding. They trade time not for money, but for control. Meanwhile, so-called hard workers pride themselves on exhaustion, not realizing their labor is being monetized by someone far more cunning. The problem isn't in the work. It's in the absence of strategy. A man digging a hole may be admired for his effort, unless he owns the land or knows why he digs. He is expendable. You can wake up early, stay late, and give your best years to a company, a system, or a dream that was never yours. And in the end, you're replaceable. Your loyalty doesn't buy you freedom. It ensures your dependence. In every kingdom, the peasants work the hardest. They plow the fields, build the castles, fight the wars. But they never rule. Rulers do not gain their throne through obedience and sweat. They seize it through intelligence, manipulation, and the refusal to be enslaved by labor. They understand that working hard for others' visions is the slowest death of one's own. This is the harsh reality. Effort without elevation is enslavement. If your work does not buy you ownership, freedom, or power, it is theft dressed as virtue. You are not climbing, you are carrying, and the weight grows heavier the more you give. Obedience is not a virtue. It is a system of control disguised as morality. From the earliest days of childhood, obedience is rewarded with approval, gold stars, kind words, and false promises. The obedient child becomes the obedient adult, the perfect citizen, the ideal employee, the silent servant. What they don't tell you is that this obedience is not preparing you for power. It is preparing you for submission. It is molding you into a shape that fits inside someone else's structure. The more obedient you become, the more disconnected you are from your own will. You follow commands, meet expectations, and never question the origin of either. The ones who praise obedience, the most are usually those who benefit from it. Leaders, institutions, governments. They demand obedience not because it's right, but because it makes their power easier to maintain. They want masses who don't question, don't resist, and don't imagine alternatives. They want people who mistake submission for discipline, compliance for character, silence for wisdom. In reality, obedience is a psychological leash. It does not elevate you. It reduces you. It suppresses your instincts and trains you to second-guess your own judgment in favor of external authority. Obedience removes the need for thinking. It kills the spark of rebellion, and with it, the possibility of greatness. When you follow orders blindly, you are no longer an agent of your own life. You are a tool. You become part of someone else's plan, someone else's design. The illusion is that you are progressing, but what you are really doing is playing a role designed for you. Useful, replaceable, forgotten. The obedient man may live peacefully, but he will never live freely. He may avoid punishment, but he will also avoid greatness. Power thrives on your obedience. It is built upon it. The more predictable you are, the more easily you are managed. The systems that surround you, from education to corporate hierarchy to religion, are not designed to awaken your strength. They are designed to shape you into something digestible, controllable, and passive. You are taught that disobedience is dangerous, that questioning is arrogant, and that following is safer than leading. But safety is a cage. Comfort is the enemy of transformation. And obedience, in its most seductive form, is the poison that keeps you docile while others climb over your back. To rise, you must abandon the belief that obedience is noble. It is not. Obedience is merely the currency of those who do not wish to think for themselves. It is the doctrine of the fearful, the creed of the domesticated. The man who obeys without question is easy to replace. He may be liked, but he will never be respected. He may be praised only within the narrow limits of his usefulness. And when he is no longer convenient, he is dismissed without hesitation. Obedience does not buy you loyalty from those above. It only ensures your disposability. The men who control nations, corporations, and cultures are not obedient. They may pretend to follow rules, but only as long as it benefits them. They use obedience as a tool, not as a principle. They understand that rules are meant to be bent, that systems are meant to be gamed, and that the appearance of compliance is often more useful than actual submission. They wear the mask of obedience to gain trust, but they never kneel inside. Obedience also conditions you to wait for permission, to wait for recognition, to wait for the signal that it's your turn. But power does not wait. Power takes. It moves before it is told to move. It acts even when uncertain. It builds its own timing instead of waiting for someone to hand it a moment. The obedient man waits his whole life for someone to notice him. The powerful man makes himself unavoidable. This is why obedience is so dangerous. It seduces you into giving up your authority. You start believing that someone else knows what's best for you, that someone else will lead you to victory. But no one is coming. The truth is, those who rise do not follow. They act. They decide. They break patterns, violate norms, and pursue what others are afraid to desire. They do not obey. They calculate. They understand that obedience is the easiest way to become invisible in a world ruled by dominance and deception. In every structure of power, the obedient are necessary, but never celebrated. They are used as examples, but never as rulers. Their greatest reward is often a longer leash, not a higher place. They confuse being kept with being chosen, being managed with being important. But true power cannot coexist with blind obedience. One must give way to the other. Power is not something that arrives at your feet because you deserve it. It does not respond to merit, morality, or sacrifice. It answers only to those who know how to seize it. The lie they feed you is simple and seductive: be good, be patient, be disciplined, and eventually, power will come. But history doesn't support that fantasy. Power has never belonged to the most hardworking or the most obedient. It has always belonged to the most cunning, the most perceptive, the most daring. Those who understood that to wait for permission is to waste a life. Those who did not ask for power, they took it. This world is not structured to reward virtue. It rewards control. The ones at the top aren't there because they played fair. They're there because they played smart. They recognized early that no amount of sacrifice would save them if they didn't learn to outthink. and outmaneuver. The myth of earning. Power is designed to pacify you, to keep you grinding while others are plotting. While you accumulate effort, they accumulate advantage. You keep your head down, they keep their eyes open. You follow the rules, they write new ones. The truth is brutal. Power is seized by those who are willing to do what others are afraid to even consider. Look at the great empires, the most dominant rulers, the richest men. They didn't wait to be told they were worthy. They imposed their will, shaped the game, and destroyed anyone who stood in their way. They understood that power is not a trophy for the most deserving, it's a weapon for the most willing. You don't climb to power, you cut your way through the crowd. The climb is not vertical. It is political, psychological, and often brutal. The game of power is not about effort, it is about pressure, about influence, about audacity. Those who take power never take it openly at first. They move like shadows, speak like servants, act like allies. They know how to hide ambition behind humility, how to use silence as a trap, how to gain trust only to twist it. They understand that visibility without control is weakness. So they move quietly, strategically, always watching for the right moment. When the environment is weak, they strike. Not when they are ready, but when others are unprepared. Power is about timing, not just strength. It's not about how much you can do. It's about knowing when to do it and how deeply it will affect others. Power also does not tolerate hesitation. The man who hesitates is a man who dies slowly. While he thinks, doubts, second guesses, another man moves forward, takes action, and wins. In this brutal economy of influence, being late is the same as being dead. Those who hold power move fast, cut ties, make decisions without looking back. They value clarity over popularity, action over comfort. The moment you hesitate, you expose yourself as prey, and once you're marked as prey, you are no longer a threat. You are an asset to be used, a body to be buried, a memory to be erased. This is the reason the world fears powerful men. They do not play by inherited rules. They make their own. They understand the truth beneath all diplomacy and politeness. Domination is the true law of life. The strong dominate the weak, and the clever dominate the strong. Power has nothing to do with being liked and everything to do with being respected or feared. If you seek to be admired, to be accepted, to be welcomed, you will never rise. You will be invited to the table only as decoration, not as a decision maker. The ones who sit at the head of the table are not there to be accepted. They are there to command. To take power, you must become a reader of human weakness. You must understand fear, ego, greed, vanity. These are not flaws, they are keys. If you know what people want and what they dread, you can control their decisions without ever touching them. You must become a master of perception. Make yourself appear less dangerous than you are. Hide your sword until it's too late for anyone to stop you. Let others underestimate you. It makes your conquest effortless. The clever man never threatens directly. He creates the illusion of peace while preparing for war. This mindset separates rulers from slaves. Power is not handed out like candy. It is extracted from chaos. Those who try to deserve it will always be ruled by those who simply take it. The battlefield of life is not filled with medals for the most deserving. It is littered with the bones of the most obedient. The man who wants to rule must never wait to be crowned. He must crown himself in silence, act without guilt, and never ask for anyone's approval. In a world governed by appearances, the man who shows his true intentions too early dies quietly and forgotten. Power today does not belong to the one who shouts the loudest or fights the hardest. It belongs to the one who blends in, adapts, plays the role expected of him, while never for a moment losing sight of his own agenda. The new rule for those who wish to rise is simple: appear loyal, move ruthlessly. The world is not ready for raw ambition. It fears it, shames it, and punishes it. So, the wise man wears a mask of loyalty, speaks the language of obedience, and hides his sharpest blade behind a warm smile. To move ruthlessly does not mean to move foolishly. It means to strike when the time is right, without mercy and without hesitation. But to do so effectively, one must first gain trust, and trust is earned through performance, through the image of reliability, dedication, and selflessness. You must master the art of convincing others that you are harmless, that you seek no power, that your loyalty is unquestionable. Only when they are at ease will they lower their guard. And when their guard is down, Their power becomes exposed, their defense is soft, their alliance is vulnerable. The appearance of loyalty is a weapon. It disarms others while giving you access. It allows you to enter circles of influence, listen to private conversations, observe hidden insecurities. You are not there to belong. You are there to study. Every room you enter is a map of power. Every conversation is an opportunity to learn the fears, desires, and blind spots of those above you. And while they talk, while they laugh, while they believe you are one of them, you prepare. You memorize their weaknesses. You calculate your moves. You plan your escape. You build your exit while they sleep. Most people confuse ruthlessness with violence, with aggression, with loud rebellion. But true ruthlessness is invisible. It does not announce itself. It does not seek confrontation. It waits. It blends. It whispers when others scream. And then, when no one expects it, it strikes. Not out of anger, but out of precision. The man who acts out of emotion is a fool. The man who acts out of timing is a king. To move ruthlessly means to never be distracted by guilt, praise, or external validation. Your goal is power, not applause. Obedient men are often the first to fall. Not because they are weak, but because they are predictable. Their movements are easy to trace, their motives easy to decode. But the man who appears loyal, while secretly playing his own game, becomes a ghost. Untraceable, unreadable, untouchable. He becomes a mirror, reflecting back whatever others want to see. And in doing so, he remains protected. Nobody targets the man who poses no threat. Nobody guards against the servant who smiles. And when the time comes to challenge the master, no one expects the servant to rise. To rise through deception is not cowardice. It is intelligence. In a world where ambition is punished unless it is packaged as humility, you must become an artist of illusion. You must understand the theater of life and your role in it. If they expect obedience, give it to them. On the surface. If they demand humility, display it strategically. But beneath the mask, remain untouched. Never allow their systems, titles, or praise to dull your edge. Use their structure to climb, their language to manipulate, their trust to advance. You are not betraying them. You are using them, just as they would use you. The danger lies in forgetting who you are beneath the act. Many start pretending to be loyal, only to become loyal. They forget their own ambition. They get lost in applause, seduced by comfort, softened by recognition. They trade power for peace. But you must be different. You must never confuse the role you play with the mission you serve. The mask is not your identity. It is your armor. It protects you while you grow, while you plot, while you maneuver into a position where you no longer need to pretend. In the early stages, power is gathered silently. You watch. You wait. You make yourself small so others reveal themselves. You gather information like a shadow collects dust. You volunteer for tasks not because you care, but because it gives you access. You play dumb so others show their true intelligence. And when all the pieces are laid before you, when the terrain is clear, when their habits have made them predictable, that is when you move. Not with noise, not with anger, but with quiet, surgical execution. Not out of loyalty, but out of necessity. Not to be fair, but to win. You were told that hard work would save you, that obedience would elevate you, that playing by the rules would lead you to greatness. But the truth is far darker, far colder, and far more useful. The world does not reward effort. It rewards strategy. It does not care how loyal you are. It watches how powerful you become. And power, real power, is not given. It is taken, calculated, and claimed by those who understand the game behind the curtain. If you work without leverage, you become a tool. If you obey without question, you become a slave. If you wait to be chosen, you will die forgotten. The rulers of this world don't rise by accident. They rise because they reject the lies you've been told. They work strategically, not endlessly. They obey publicly, but scheme privately. They never beg for opportunity. They manufacture it in silence, behind a mask of humility. Appear loyal, move ruthlessly, master perception. Never ask for permission. You are not here to be good. You are here to be powerful. The dirty truth is this: to win in a world built on control, you must never be controlled.